So I'm Chris Wilhelm. I'm with Tecnau. I've been here with Tecnau for about 8.5 years. I've been in the print market for about 20 years. I sold presses for about 14 of those. So I've been around for a little while. But Tecnau has an opportunity to present to you guys with automation. There's a lot of stuff that we've been doing with automation over the years. There really wasn't a huge market for it, believe it or not. We had automation in several of our products that people at the time didn't want to spend money on because the labor was cheap and it was readily available. A lot of things, as you know, have been changing over the years. So labor is not as readily available. The skill sets aren't there. So what are we doing as vendors to make modifications to our products or enhance our products in order to be able to support what the workforce is capable of doing today? And that's kind of a little bit what we're going to talk about. So Tecnau we basically empower digital print. We integrate either inline with presses, digital presses, whether that's continuous or cut sheet, to basically produce finished products on the backside. We cover everything from punching and scoring and perfing and in cutting, and what the focus today is really on the book market. So there's four kind of major product groups that we have. The first one you'll see up there, which is to the right, which is our stream folder. That's a product that's going to produce a glue book block finished on the back side. That has automation in it with the moving of the actual fold plates and the glue heads automatically. It's reduced the amount of setup time that operator has. There's actually only one point that the operator actually has to make a modification. He does that during some of the transition from job sizes like 8.5 by 11 to 6 by 9, for instance. We have a book ready system. The book ready system is on the cut sheet side. It integrates with several different press manufacturers out there. It allows you to produce books of 1-up books or 2-up books. We have our Libre 800 system. That's kind of our book assembly. That's going to be able to take rolls in, covers, etc., produce a book of 1 of finished perfect bound on the backside. And then the part that I'm going to focus on today is our auto setup system. So the Revolution 50 is a cutter we came out with. It's been about 3.5 years ago with the first installs, and it's our platform of today, and we continue to enhance that. And one of the enhancements we're going to talk about is the auto setup feature. So what is auto setup? It basically allows you to change book sizes on the fly. So I can go from an 8.5 by 11 book to a 6 by 9 book, for instance. So I have that flexibility in doing a 1-up or 2-up or 3-up or 4-up, and it's going to make that changeover. So I no longer have an operator having to physically move blades in and out. There's no changing in the backstops for them. It's all automated. So it's a little bit less skill, less touch point. If I got less touch points, it's less error potential. There's less waste on the paper side, because going from job to job, since the automation piece, it reduces that greatly. So I'm going to gain labor savings and paper waste savings. So in a roll, typically, you're going to gang up jobs, and they're going to be, I'm going to use this for instance, this particular customer would have 8.5 by 11 or 1-up books, so maybe tabletop books. Then they would run that roll out, and the machine would be set up to do it. And then they'd run another roll, and I'd have to make a changeover to go to my 2-ups, and my 3-ups would be the next one. And that's a lot of physical labor and stopping and starting, right? We've taken that and kind of condensed it down and made it a lot easier to do those changeovers automatically. So the way we do that is you have a set of header pages that are in front of the job. So customer has, okay, I want to run 8.5 by 11 books, and I'm going to prioritize my roll based on SLAs. I have a lot of short runs that I need to be able to get out, and I'm going to set up each one of those in the job as I need to get out, not really based on size. So now I'm working towards that SLA. There's a few key components that we have to have in order to be able to do that. One is barcode. So this is really a barcode-driven system. You'll see it, it's kind of hard to see, but in the lower section between the two black marks, there's a barcode. That barcode has a recipe in it. The system is constantly looking at that barcode that's on every sheet as it goes through, or every page that it goes through. It's reading that barcode, and let's just assume that 8.5 by 11, which is on the left-hand side, that is a job I'm running, and that's recipe 01. It will continue. The machine will just continue to run as it sees 01, 01, 01. The next one is a 6x9 job. It's going to have a barcode, and maybe that's recipe 20. Once it sees that change, it's actually going to make a stop, and I'm going to have a set of header pages which takes up about 12 feet worth of paper, and it's going to stop. It's going to advance the remaining portion of the job out. It's going to scan an outside mark, so it's going to be measuring the web width to ensure that I have the right size web in there for the job that's been selected in the barcode, and then it's going to move the blades and stuff into place, which I have a video that's going to show that real quick here in a minute. It's going to move all those into place so that operators no longer have to do that, and there's a huge benefit to that, and that's in time savings. So as I'm reading the 2D and it's going through over and over and over and over, and I see a change, I'm going to make that change. I have these header pages that are there. The blades are now going to move. It takes about 20 seconds for a job to change over. So to go from 8.5 by 11 to 6 by 9, for instance, it's going to take about 20 seconds for the system to feed that through and to make that change. And then it's going to ramp right back up to speed and get into production. So I've got a quick video that's going to show it. Hopefully this works out well here. So here you'll see the marks that are on the page. There's you have both the reader and the 2D barcode, and this thing, it read it, it released the remaining part of the job, and now you'll see these blades move. So this was a 2-up job, and now it's going to 1-up, so the blades actually move out of place. This is just going to show kind of the different setups if they were to make a change. Here's a 3-up, so you see the 2 blades that are moving. That's a 4-up, so the blade comes out, and those are stored, often all servo driven, so that they can hit the position they need to. And this is just going to run out the actual paper. So on an ROI perspective, there's a lot of advantages. One of the key ones is the time of changeover. If it's only taking me 20 seconds to go job to job, there's a lot of time that I'm going to save here, 8 to 15 minutes, depending on the complexity of the job I'm having to set up. The time that I get back into production is going to allow me, obviously, more time to be able to run, so I can push more books through the systems that I have. The operator doesn't have to touch anything. So their focus is on taking the blocks and stuff that are coming off the back and be able to move those into other processing like perfect binding on the back side. The paper waste, typically when I'm running out a job, there's probably 60, 100 feet worth of paper that I'm running out going from job to job. That allows me to reduce that to about 12 feet worth of paper. I'm gaining time back. If it takes about an hour to run through a roll of paper, say 60-pound offset, it takes me about an hour to run through a 52-inch roll. If it's 15 minutes, that's 25% productivity increase if I'm able to reduce that to 20 seconds. So it's more flexible. I can now focus, especially on short runs, I'm able to focus on the SLAs of getting those books out, either out to the customer, into the mail. I'm able to do that much faster, and I can leave maybe my longer runs for others once I get the SLA stuff out. Less human error. That's the other key piece, is I'm not having operators touch things, so I'm not wasting books on job setups because they don't put the blades in the right place or make adjustments. That's all done electronically now. So we have SLAs that are basically, with some of our customers that are less than a year. The best one we've seen so far is about a 9-month payback on the price delta between an existing or a regular cut line and the automated cut line. That's all I have. On time too, I think.
Look at that. Good man. 9 minutes. Well done. All right. Questions for Chris? All right. Just so good, no questions. Yeah. That's impressive. Well done. All right, so we'll just let you swap out, and we'll bring up Johan from Standard.
It's actually from a high to low, the reverse order, right?
We're gonna almost. I think we're one off. I'd have to throw Mauro back at the end, but that's all right. All right, so.
All right.
Thank you, Matt. Start my watch, but you'll get the 5-minute and 2-minute warnings in the back. All right, ready?
So, good morning. My name is Johan Laurent. I'm the director of business operations at Standard. If you don't know Standard, we are a distributor in the US and Canada for print finishing equipment. We're about 115 years old, about 100 employees, of which about 35 are in service. We're based in the Boston area, Andover, Massachusetts, and we represent 2 best-in-class manufacturing partners. You have Horizon out of Japan. They have the world's largest plant for print finishing equipment. They have core competency in perfect binding and trimming and stitching and folding, among others. And then Hunkel out of Switzerland, and they are the global and also the US Canadian market leader in finishing for inkjet. And we have a world-class training center and demonstration center in Andover. If you haven't been recently, we would love to see you there. Our case story is on a fellow BMI member, Bradford and Bigelow, also in the Boston area, just north in a place called Newburyport. They're about 45 years old, also around 100 employees. They really focus on quality of the products, quality of the equipment, and quality of their own employees. And they were the self-proclaimed one of the largest 8.5 by 11 book printers in the US and Canada. They do perfect binding, as well as scroll binding and saddle stitching. And they have different volume bands, so they have a solution for the really high-end long run lengths with Mount Roland Goss web presses. They have the medium, but still pretty high run lengths with a 40-inch HP press with inline finishing. And then they have 2 20-inch screen presses with inline Hunkel or cut stack lines. And they bought the very first Pop 6 line as a book printer in the US back in 2009. And they have since upgraded those 2 Pop 6 lines to Gen 8 cut stack solutions. And after investing the new presses and the new cut stack line, it was time to change the bindery as well. So they had an older, obsolete binder and trimmer on that system. There was a couple of limitations in terms of the thickness of the book that they could produce, also the glue they could use. It didn't support POR, and because it was older, there was limited automation in that system as well. And then because they were expanding, they really need for more space, so looking for a system that was fairly small footprint, so they can basically use this space and maybe save some footprint as well on the system. So at the beginning of last year, they started looking at what is available to replace this binder and trimmer. There was 3 main objectives. As I mentioned, trying to save some space, but also trying to save some labor. Want to make sure that was just one person running the entire line. Secondly, they want to make sure they could run all their products on this finishing line. And lastly, they want to have good support. We've been doing the service since 2009 on the Hunkel line, but also on the Horizon equipment. They came to our demonstration center twice, first with the executives to kind of map out the solution, and secondly with the production and operations people to actually run their own jobs on our system to make sure everything would fit. And then middle of last year, they made an investment in some additional Horizon equipment. There was an LBF 500, that's a loose book block feeder. There was a BQ 500, that's our 4-clamp perfect binder, can handle POR as well as EVA. And then the HT 1000V, which is our 3.5 trimmer. And as you see the little video, was shot at Bradford and Bigelow a few weeks ago. So they take a blank roll of paper all the way down in one single pass to a finished, trimmed, perfect bound book, with basically no touch points in between. They have a 0-speed splicer on the front end of the screen press, so they can basically change blank rolls on the fly, so they don't have to pause the press while doing that. The Hunkel line will simply slit the web, so you get 2 book blocks coming out side by side. When the book block is complete, that will go to the delivery table. So each table delivery will be 2 complete book blocks. They will go into a shuttlebird conveyor belt. That will travel to the LBF loose book block feeder, into the clamp of the perfect binder, fully automated, and then from there with conveyor systems into the HT 1000V trimmer. So again, from a blank roll to a finished perfect bound book, all in one pass, no interaction. If you have fewer people, less chance for risk, for errors, And also, they didn't have to change anything to the platform, no walls to remove or no poles to move in the building. So that's why they went with this system. The whole system from unwind to book is spec'd for about 750 books per hour. And that kind of depends on the number of sheets in your book, of course. So it's fully automated. So again, one binder, one trimmer in line with the press. So that means it's less touch points and less chance for error. The LBF 500 is a pretty neat system. If you have loose book blocks traveling on a conveyor belt, there's always a chance for disshingling of those sheets. The LBF will constantly jog that book block as it travels into the clamp. So when it gets to the clamp, it's a perfectly square book block. No more need for hand jogging, which is what they had to do with their previous system. The LBF 500 will also measure the thickness of the book block. And based on that, it will set the clamp, it will set the side glue, it will set the nipper table, and it will set the scoring on the cover. So they can change from book to book, different thickness, and everything else in the binder is being automatically adjusted. The conveyor belt is integrated with the LBF, so if the press would outrun the finishing, there's a kind of a buffer capacity built into the conveyor belt, and if that's full as well, we'll send a plastic note to the screen press and then restart as the conveyor belt is emptied again. And then Horizon has a kind of the same touchscreen look and feel for every single piece of equipment. So if you train on one system, you kind of know intuitively where to find the settings in each of the pieces of equipment on the Horizon equipment. There's additional automation as well. So they could go to a book of one. They don't do that. So everything on this line is between 10 and about 4,000 run lengths. Book block to cover matching, of course, and if the cover doesn't match, that's being diverted before it goes to the perfect binder. And then they have IceLink, which is Horizon's cloud-based bindery control system. So with IceLink, you can do, with the enterprise level, a full automation using either JDF or CSV files. You can always, of course, automate the systems with just barcode readers and then read the job settings as you travel to the system. And then also maintenance monitoring. You will see some, speed is small, but some happy faces in green. That means everything is fine. Some frowny faces in red. That means there's some maintenance has to be done. You can click on that. It'll take you to a maintenance manual and tell you what the next maintenance interval is you have to do. It will also have error codes, and then based on the error codes, it will click through to the service manual to tell you what to do to resolve that error codes. And then finally, it has some KPIs on the system. KPIs for just benchmarking yourself against your own internal benchmarks, but also against the whole worldwide population of Horizon perfect binders and trimmers, so you can kind of see where you are in that overall global population. So that's the whole system that they purchased, was installed third quarter of last year and in operation just end of last year. Before I go to questions, I want to point out we have an open house coming up in about 3 weeks. It's called Finishing 360. We will see this system as well as several other Hunkeler and Horizon systems on our floor. So if you haven't signed up yet, you can talk to Caitlin Pinch, our partner manager, or Steve Martinez, our national sales manager, or talk to myself, and we can set you up to come visit us in about 3 weeks. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Good job, Johan. Man, 2 under the time.
And I'm under time, right?
Yeah. Hey.
Great.
Get a round of applause just for that.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? No? All right. Mauro, you're up.
Hi, everyone. It's my first BMI. My name is Mauro Valle from Muller Martini. I'm a solutions manager specialized in workflow and our folding devices. So I've been at Muller Martini for about 12 years, mostly on the workflow side. I started out at tech support and made myself all the way to this position at the moment. So I want to present you a case study that I was fortunate to work on. So it's a little different because the customer was reinventing themselves. So they started out with a cut sheet production digital. So they had 6 Titan cut sheet presses, 1 Palamedes. And now we're going to take them to continuous inkjet. So completely changed the process of how they do any work in their facility. So to understand what the requirements, we have to understand what they run. They run anything from 250 books batch production all the way down to book of one. They produce this on the cut sheet by running the jobs 1 up, 2 up, all the way up to 4 up. Those will get then taken to an offline cutter, cut, and then taken to a bindery. They would also run 8-pagers for the longer formats, run it through the Palamidi so they could get a folded book block. And lastly, they finished it on a smaller perfect binder with trimmer. So let's take a look at their production types. This is one of the most important things when we analyze what the customer does. Here we have batch production, so that means anything, same format, longer runs. The customer considered it anything over 250. That was their batch production. VDP, that being same format, but different content within that format. And lastly, the book of one, any format. So we need to be able to produce these all in through that system. So this is what he asked us. He wants an end-to-end workflow solution from the manufacturer. So we need to be able to interface with their storefront to take in the jobs. We need to minimize labor. Labor's been an issue for years now. The requirements, simplicity of the equipment. We need to also increase the overall bindery productivity, so reducing touches and automation in the bindery equipment. And lastly, getting that feedback. So when you deal with book of one, you need to know what's being produced, what needs to be reprinted relatively quickly. So here's our Muller Martini's digital portfolio, but today we're going to take a focus on the Sigma Compact and the Intaro, which was the solution provided to the customer. So here's an overall layout of what it looks like. We have a Sigma Compact, goes in line to an Intaro Perfect Binder, then gets trimmed on the Infinitrim, the robotic trimmer with zero make ready. So how do we provide the end-to-end software solution? So it starts with the customer storefront. The customer storefront receives the jobs, sends them over, and so we collect these jobs that need to be produced in our optimizing module. From there, we take a JDF, XML, CSV, we collect all those jobs, and we group them based on bindery capabilities. So if, there we're able to reduce changeovers. We also apply business rules for the customers to set the priority for those jobs that need to be finished. So from there, we create the imposition using our Connex InfoWiz. There we lay out the pages of how it's going to be folded. We apply all the marks and barcoding required for the finishing equipment. Again, reducing any operator input. We also automate the process to send a job to the press, so the job ticket that's submitted to the press actually is already ready to print. No creating jobs on the press at all. While we produce the book blocks, we also have to take care of the covers. So we also set the same run list that we provide to the press for the book blocks to the covers. So they're always in the right sequence when you produce in the inline system. So while we're printing, we're not just printing the book as well, we're also capturing the data that's coming through. With our roll manifest, we capture all the jobs that are coming into the roll. That way, we could create a print slip that walks with the, that goes with the roll. So when you take it to the finishing equipment, all the operator has to do is scan that sheet, and it loads all the rolls that are, all the jobs that are on that roll. From there, we scan the sheet. Once we move the roll to the equipment, that loads the job, and the machine automatically makes ready for all those jobs. So it knows when to change over, it knows the thickness of the products, and it knows how to trim the product as well. So let's take a look at the Sigma Compact. So this is the first component of the solution. So it's a touchless production, so it's driven by our Connex workflow. That means that when we receive a PDF, we analyze everything, all the metadata within the PDF. So we look at the trim boxes, the bleed boxes, we create the imposition, and with that, we know all the values that are required for the setup. It can handle up to 22.5 inch and could go up to 650 feet per minute. The Sigma Compact allows you also to create offset signatures. So if you have a traditional saddle stitcher, for example, you could create saddle stitch signatures and then finish them on your offset equipment. It also has the capability to create to nest signatures. So you're not just doing 4 pagers, 6 or 8 pagers. We could actually deliver 32 pages, 48 pages. We could stack up to 5 millimeters of height in sheets. So let's take a look at the video. This is how quick the changeover. It roughly takes about 8 seconds to go from format to format and about 10 feet of paper waste. So what we're seeing here is you have a 4-page, 2-up. So the web comes in, you have the running perf. So when we do a 2-up, only one running perf perfs the spine. The sheeter aligns to the cut. And now we start collecting. As you see, in the length folder, we have that nesting capability. From there, we apply the first fold. Then it goes into the collator. And we create the book blocks there. We stack the book blocks. So we have a 2-hopper system that allows us to go from one format to the other without having to do any, having to stop the line for any make ready. So now you're going to see here, we're going to go from a 2 across to a 3 across. The perf wheel went up. The 2 additional perf wheels come down. And now, once it makes it to a length folder, we apply the first fold. So this gives us flexibility to be able to do gate folds and Z folds. So the table would adjust depending on which fold you need. And the second fold is actually done at the collator itself. The next one we're going to see is the change from 3 across to 4 across. Again, the perf comes up. And all 3 perfs come down now. Now we're doing 4 across. And on the length folder, we create the first fold. And then in the collator, again, we create that second fold. And our collator also applies glue. You're going to see the tanks all the way to the right. So that way you get glued book blocks out of the collator, and it's easier for the binder to process. So now we created the book blocks. Now we need to finish these book blocks. So we just released the Entaro last year. And this is a 2,000 cycle an hour machine, 6 clamps. Gives you the flexibility to go no impact to performance on 20 millimeter difference in thickness. Has soft cover and hard cover capabilities. And the cool thing about it has a cover wheel, which actually, if you mess up the sequence of the covers, it allows you to recover and not have to stop the machine to resort the covers to put them back on in sequence. So here you're going to see how we take different format sizes. You're going to see it skip a clamp when it needs to make an adjustment for greater thickness than 20 millimeters. So here we're validating the thickness of the book block, just in case maybe a couple sheets fell out. We validate the thickness. The barcode tells the equipment how to set up. So it comes into the star wheel. As you saw, you're going to see here, we skip a clamp. So that means that the thickness variation between the previous job and the previous book and the next one was greater than 20. Anything less than 20 has no impact to performance. Standard binder capabilities, so you have hot melt, PUR capabilities, hard cover, soft cover. So this is the cover buffer that I talked about. So we store the covers there. Once the barcode comes up, we make sure it stays in the right sequence. And lastly, we finish it with our Infinitrim. So this is our zero make-ready robotic trimmer. As you can see here, we have soft cover and hard cover. No make ready, really no operator needed. So could go any format back to back, no changeover times. So with that, we delivered an end-to-end workflow solution. We minimized the labor process, so went down from, it was roughly about 12 people down to 4. We increased the bindery productivity by reducing changeovers and optimizing the changeovers on the bindery equipment, and provided feedback for every product that was produced on the equipment. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mauro. Yeah. Any questions? Yes, we got a question. All right.
So is the auto sequencing, was that reading a barcode?
Sorry?
The auto sequencing you were talking about with the covers, is that just reading of a barcode?
Yeah, so it reads the job ID on the barcode. So when you do the cover matching, it knows on which of the trays it's located in, and so it makes sure that it goes to the right bookmark.
Okay. And then can you explain more about the job ticket, being automated?
So what we've done is we capture the information that's coming from the press. So this could be through SIG events. So we capture everything that's going on that roll. So that data is stored basically on a container. So it has all the jobs that ran on that container. And then when we send it over, the individual JDF tickets are also transferred over with that roll slip.
Any other questions? All right. Steve, you're on the clock.
Where's Matt Baldwin? Is he here? I didn't think so. So we continued our EUDR discussions yesterday in Broadway, down on Broadway. EU for my European friend that we went out with last night. DR for drink responsibly. It turned out to be EU, drink more requests. So my head is pounding right now. But let's get through what's going on from our standpoint. So we're doing IPG. Everybody knows Clark Matthews. He's one of the board members. He's a very intelligent young man, and he's very driven, and he's looking for all sorts of different solutions. And this is our story of what we've accomplished with them. Before I get into that, I just would like to say, because a lot of people don't understand, Magnum is located just north of Toronto. We bought Timpson's in the last couple of months. 75% of the marketplace is still offset. I was so impressed with seeing the new version of the offset press and the support that we got from Friesens and Chad and his team. I have to say, I felt like Victor Cayenne with the Remington shaver. I had to buy the company. So we're now back in the offset space, but we're also utilizing that technology and engineering capacity here to tie into our digital offerings here as well. So it's giving us a much larger global footprint. And the response that we've got back from our European customers, as well as our North American and South American customers on the offset side, has been very, very strong. So we see, as we go faster and wider in digital, I'm going to need some of those offset experiences to be tied into digital-based solutions as well. So it's not just offset, but we see the carryovers on the digital side as well. IPG. So we do a lot of collaborative-based endeavors with our customers. So IPG's backstory is quite interesting. They were, in fact, a print cell for Edwards Brothers Malloy. We all know what happened in 2018, and that pretty much shuttered their operation in Chicago immediately overnight. So the management got together, worked on a plan to try and bring back the operation into a new endeavor. So within two and a half weeks, they were back in business. By October of that year, They were basically dealing with all the customers and the volumes that they were dealing with. And I guess around 2020, they moved into their first digital-based application. Just the last year, we moved in with them on the next version of their digital-based application. So they're currently on the print side, but they also do a lot of distribution. They're about an $80 million company here now, which is quite amazing considering the growth aspects from 2018. I'm not going to get into all of this, but suffice it to say, we're an offset press manufacturer that moved into digital when CPI was our very first customer. So I always have a affection towards CPI. I don't think we would be here without CPI. So we really try to focus in on solutions that are offset caliber. So we have automatic decurlers, we have moisture control systems tied in, we have bearing heaters tied into it. We're basically 724. Our very first installation was in France, which was quite an endeavor. Partnered with Muller Martini on the back end and HP on the front end, and that was in 2009. Still running 724 today. There's been a few upgrades on that machine, but really our focus these days is on efficiency. Back in the old days, I used to get criticized for taking people's jobs. These days, what we're trying to do is reduce the number of touches because we can't get people. And I don't know how this whole manufacturing thing for the United States is going to work out because we can't get people in the printing sector right now. So in looking at what IPG was facing, they had so many bottlenecks within their organization on their workflows. Their workflows probably from around 2018 were probably fairly good, but they had a lot of touches, job tickets in every book that was going in through the operation. Lots of touches on the consumables and on the cover printing side of the picture. Anybody that's been to IPG probably also is aware of trying to get labor in that area. It's a very, shall we say, a dangerous area within the city. So labor is a very difficult thing to attract people to that particular location. So we had to say, okay, how can we reduce the number of touches? And there was really no overall integration between everything that they were doing within their organization. So we said, we do it for all of our customers. We'll come in and spend a couple of days. So we would look at all the touches, try to figure out where they were successful, where their difficulties were. And we came up with 5 key areas that we thought we could have an influence on their operation. Once again, book block, during COVID, we did automatic changeovers. We do the same thing as everybody else, 6x9, 5x8, 8.5x11, automatic changeovers on the fly. For some of our largest organizations, the largest customer, we have 35 lines, all in line. We run at full speed. We're always believed in line is better than not being in line, but there are some exceptions to that. But from our standpoint, we run at full speed for a major customer that's 20 minutes away from here, and our average run length is 1.8 books. So the automation for changeover functions and all the rest of it have been designed within the system. But we did a project in Texas recently, and we were so impressed with the 80-pound coated with aqueous coating for magazines. We do 750 magazines a week for 50 states. We felt that the quality that we're seeing on the inkjet side these days is finally commercial-based quality. So what we decided to do is run book block covers with IPG and develop the first line, we believe in the world, that we run 2 shifts on book block production, and then we move over to covers. So we went in line, 110, 120-pound cover, as well as inline UV coating. So we actually are producing covers, inline, no touches, at the same time as producing book blocks off the same format. And that was a collaborative-based approach in seeing how everything would tie in within their operation. The next thing we did, We've done a number of different inspection systems, one recently in Osaka, and we partnered with them to try and increase some of their efficiencies on the binding side of the picture by trying to get away from manual job tickets and going to more automation. And then the last two elements, we've also come up with automatic short-run autoloaders, and we've now come up with complete automatic carts. So anybody who has a Magnum currently can now move into the ability for automatic cart applications off the back end of the machine. So from a high level, we found that the solution is 3 times faster. These are, in fact, the numbers generated from Clark. We're saving about 1 to 2 operators. I think by the time we're finished here on the solution, we'll probably be closer to 3. I totally disagree with this 5K amount saving on inline cover production. I think it's at least double that. He's not taken into consideration the cost differential from going from roll to cut sheet. So traditionally, that's about a 20% savings. And furthermore, we're not tied to a 13 by 18 sheet. For a cover production, we can produce whatever size cover is needed for the particular product in line on that particular application. So those are the key areas that we've seen with respect to that. But the real key here is the ability to produce book blocks and covers off the same line without touches. So, like I said, we switch over after 16 hours of book block production, and then we produce all the covers in the order sequence for the book blocks as they come off the back end of the machine. There's some samples over here if you'd like to see them. The next element that we did is took a look at their inventory control management. And the problem we saw there is that because they would also run some thin books, as they were coming off the BQs, moving into the HT1000, there was no way to identify exactly with the barcoding what we had. So what we decided to do, and this is being implemented as we speak, we've gone to high visual cameras that will look at each book with the cover for product matching for the covers. And then in the event that we have an issue down on the 3-knife trimmer, there's no way because now we've taken off the barcodes. So what we've come up with is a strategy to put barcodes on the inside of the cover, which is what we're now applying. And now we can use this to replenish the book in the case it's damaged, or secondly, scan that for taking off the books off of their shelf and then repopulating the books going back in play. How am I doing? So, anybody who was at the Inkjet Summit saw all of these solutions, and they saw videos of everything being incorporated. Here now, we've come up with, we're already doing this in the commercial space for a very large customer, Reynolds & Reynolds in Ohio. We've come up with automatic carts on the back end. So now the book blocks will be produced. There's a lot of talk about cobots and robots. We believe the best thing that makes sense is to move the product forward, put it onto automatic carts, and then we can tie it into AGVs as we need to. So this is now going to be available for the third quarter of this year. 2 initial installs are being processed right now. So we're in manufacturing of this. And then the last element, IPG will be an adopter of that technology. The last piece is our autoloader. So we had a customer that was looking for an autoloading function since 2018. We said we would do it. We built it for them in 20 weeks. So we partnered with Horizon to feed the BQ series of, they're the largest footprint of BQs in the world. They have 200 of them. So we automatically feed book blocks, irrespective of the thickness of the books or the size of the books, automatically into the BQ. We moved from averaging around 430 per hour manual feed to 720 in the first week of application. We're producing 15 of this on our initial launch, and I think that's it. Am I old? And so that's what we're doing. And anyway, I need some water.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve? Other than where is Matt Baldwin? But
I knew Matt wouldn't be here. I saw you.
I'll get the front desk to ring his room. All right, we're going to shift to our final presentation. Luca with book automation. Have at it.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Luca, and I'm recently moved to United States to serve the market of North America for book automation. We are the branch office in the United States of Meccanotecnica. Meccanotecnica is manufacturer of Smythe softwares and other equipment, mainly in digital environment. I've been working for 10 years for Meccanotecnica. I spent 5 years at the factory in Italy. Then I spent the last 5 years in Germany, and now I recently moved here trying to serve the market as we did in the last 50 years. I'm going straight to the point and presenting the case study of our last installation in the United States to the customer DIY Media. DIY Media is a company located in Pennsauken, New Jersey, and they are well known for to be disc makers and to be in the environment of independent music authors, producing CD, vinyls, and so on, and then decided to convert the production into books, mainly involved in self-publishing environment. They are also known as Book Baby and on-press book printing. They had a big challenge in the last few months, and they wanted to move the production from a sheet-fed structure to a complete roll-to-book block production. The solution to do that was proposed and offered by our company with this complete line composed by a cutter and an unwinder, in this case served by Unkeler, connected with our digital universe software. The book blocks enter into the module for nipping and end sheets. Our new perfect binder applies the reinforcing tape, or alternatively the soft cover, and then we have our free knife trimmer. A video will probably better explain how the line works. I don't know if I think. Perfect. The single sheets are coming into the universe software. The universe software composes the sections or signatures. Then the book blocks are sewn and delivered on the conveyor. In this case, we have Smythe thread sewn books, but we can imagine also to forget the sewer and to feed the conveyor belt also with a book block feeder in case you have any kind of book block coming from any kind of vendors. The book block enter here into the nipper, 4 tons nipper, in order to have a perfect squared book blocks and sheets application. And then, in this case, we have a reinforcing tape module for applying the reinforcing tape. the perfect binder works with 3 clamps in AVA or PR. The nozzles apply the side glue. And the reinforcing tape application. And then the book blocks are delivered into the free knife trimmer. That doesn't have the pressing table, but is adjusting itself according to the dimension of the book and is completely barcode driven. And the book blocks here for the hardcover are staked on this tool and ready for the finishing operations. The decision process was composed by different elements, and of course DIY wanted to differentiate itself from other competitors in the market. They found that our line was fine for the production of softcover books and hardcover preparation. And in the same line, you can have both softcover preparation and hardcover. And of course, Smythe thread sewn books and perfect bound books. The short runs and the medium runs that are facing in everyday activity led the company to invest in our solution. And in addition, they found that the flexibility of our company, organizing a lot of visits to the company in Italy was a very key element to arrive to the final decision. As I mentioned, we made a lot of factory demos during the process, during the decision process. We tried to give them all the specification that they required, and also the fact that we were flexible in understanding what they were asking for was a key element for the final decision. This is the installation at the factory of the customer. As I said, they are located in Pennsauken, New Jersey, and they are willing to open the doors in case you wanted to visit them. They are willing to open the doors, and so please, in case you want to have a visit or take a look at the installation, please let me know. The results that are summarized here, they had a better output, a better managing of the entire production. They eliminated the handling processes, because starting from the roll, you can arrive to the complete finished book block in case you want to produce soft cover, or the book block ready for their cover finishing process. The binding technique also was important for the final decision. They were working with different areas in the company, so unify all the process was important for them. And of course, it opens marketing opportunities for their activity. And this is something that also is important for the business of one company. This is something that, this is some of the books that they are producing, in this case with soft cover, and in this case with hardcover, with the book block ready for the casing in process. Thank you, and I'm here in case you want to make some questions.
Thank you, Luca. Questions for Luca?
Was that last image with the book block, did I see a black line on there? And is that, are you using a camera to identify the head of the book block?
The book block, in this case, probably is not. There is no the barcode on the gauze on the reinforcing tape. We are able to print a barcode on the reinforcing tape in order to match the book blocks coming from the line to the finishing operations.
Okay, so
For
that's
the
a
case in the
readable
machine.
barcode on the cloth or the reinforcement tape.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so I'm going to ask one question that any or all of you can answer, and that is, where do we see book automation ending up 10 years from now? We're having this meeting and we do this again. What do we think systems are going to look like? Any or all of you, feel free. And Chris, if you need a mic, you can go to the podium.
For us, we've been focused on everything from robotics to, I'm not projecting enough. Well, we're recording, so I'm not sure.
Are you more comfortable?
No, I'm comfortable saying I'm high up, air's thinner, so it works better for my brain. We're working on automation from get-go. There's a lot of robotics and stuff we're doing. So the book market, I think, from our production perspective, really eliminating labor altogether. So you can start with a roll on a press, and then from there be able to just have the finished piece on the back side. We as Tecnau, we also have a division called SITMA. So you're producing books to the end, to the consumer. We can actually go from a roll all the way out to a packaged piece to be ready for the mail.
I think you'll see a lot of automation on changeover, making it easier for operators to come into the trade of bookbinding. You're going to see more flexibility from the equipment, allowing you to do a wider range of productions versus just limited to just certain sizes or stuff like that. So I see us becoming more flexible to the market.
And maybe add to that. So if you combine everything we talked about this morning together, the inline finishing, automatic changeover, the workflow piece of it, and the offloading on the robotics, kind of tie that all together end to end. But now, if you want to do that, it's still a pretty intensive project to kind of automate, come into a shop and kind of do that for somebody. It's get some project engineering work for that. And probably with using AI and some of these systems that are out there, I think implementation will be much faster than this now, so make it accessible to a much wider variety of customers than just a very more midterm long engineering project.
I think one of the key areas moving forward is still workflow, and I think the next conference really is going to highlight that, because we can come up with as many automated solutions as possible, from mechanical application, cameras, whatever it's needed or required, but the workflow still has to be there. And how do you manage that information from the cloud, get it to the machine? I feel if you can handle extremely short-run book of ones, long runs are relatively easy to deal with. I think one of the trends we're seeing here as well is a lot of collaboration. So there's many projects that move into play here that we're all working together on to come up with solutions. We might be tied to a sheeter format, saddle stitcher, inline with binder-based applications. So there's a lot more collaboration amongst all of us, and I think that's going to be an important trend in providing a wealth of new solutions for you guys as we move forward as being a key driver as far as I'm concerned. I would like to say one other thing too, if I could. There's a couple of other, we have Man Roland here. They're doing, I'm impressed by what everybody does within the finishing side. We have Man Roland here, EMT's doing some great things out there in the marketplace. And, Ted Green and his operation with, G2 squared technology, or GP squared, it's just amazing to me as well. So there's a lot of great solutions all amongst the community here.
Yes, I agree. The fact that the workflow plays a very important role is correct. In particular, combined with the shortage of the lack of labor force in the United States, but I would say all over the world. So probably the challenge of the companies is now find solution that replace the human labor into the automation. And probably the name of our company, Book Automation, we were already thinking at that time in 1975 when we were founded.
For sure. Awesome.
For sure.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Let's give another hand to these guys for their stuff.